Hello guys, welcome back. We got Aleph kit. So, I have to say I was hoping for something else in the sense of his kit. I was hoping for him to be like a little more global since, you know, his intellect. However, we got an impromptu character, or like at least like it's really, he really wants to play with impromptu, and we'll understand why in just a second, which also fixes some of the issue that impromptu has, and you will see in my previous video when I talked about the new team, this new team, Barcarola team, and with Voyager, etc. I said like some things that like the game could do to fix the issues that I think impromptu has as a type of style of gameplay. Okay, now Aleph actually does fix a couple of those things, which is really nice to see. However, I feel like Aleph, the way he looked, it didn't really look like an impromptu character, but whatever, it doesn't matter, right? It's still like probably a crazy good character. We'll see once I actually pull him on my stream at twitch.tv/Jakazin. But now let's go check his kit, okay? Now, thankfully, his kit is fairly simple, so it's not gonna be that big of a deal, like understanding it. But there are a couple of cool things that we have to discuss. So, his intellect 6-star, obviously. Insight is a consultant that answers all. I1. When allies consume Eureka, gain inspiration, which is that value that inspiration impromptu has in their value in the middle right? Increase max Eureka. So it's gonna have like maybe 6 or 7 Eureka. Or like, I don't know, 5, 6 or 7, who knows how much. At the start of each turn, increases Eureka. Okay, so it's going to keep getting back this Eureka. When allies under answer, which is a status that we'll see later, actively attack using incantation, so they need to cast attacks, okay? Aleph will consume Eureka to cause impromptu incantations to inflict interpret on enemies. Now, I believe this is just referring to the attack at the end of the turn, where that weird note attack, which is called impromptu incantation, will be shooting stars at the enemies, right? Those incantations will inflict interpret on enemies. That's how I see it. So interpret is a debuff, so decreases mental defense and damage resist. Okay, because like your attack incantations that improve impromptu are not regarded as impromptu incantations. They're just called attacks, right? Attack incantations. So I believe this one is basically just saying the stars are going to apply interpret, which means that if they don't already have interpret, the first attack is going to do the debuff on the whatever enemy is attacking, and then you will double down on it. We don't know if this can be stacked multiple times. I don't think so. So it might be a big debuff, which makes sense. Like, I don't know, like 25% or 20% of these debuffs. Now it's mental defense, so keep that in mind. Yeah, we're probably gonna have multiple enemies with it on. Now I2, just 8% damage increase. Obviously, I can already tell you the numbers because it's always the same. I don't know why I2 they don't really do much about it. They should start doing something on I2. It's kind of a wasted opportunity to make a character even better. I3, when consuming Eureka, which is already happening once here, when allies under answer actively attack using incantation, Aleph will consume Eureka too, blah 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 blah. When consuming Eureka, there is a chance of recovering Eureka. So maybe there is a 50% chance. 50% would be crazy, but maybe there is like a decent chunk, decent percent for Aleph to recover the one Eureka that he just used. So it's kind of like balancing up, self-sustaining. There's a chance, maybe if you get lucky enough, you consume 2 and you regain 2 and it's free stuff. Now, this is this insight that starts the impromptu concept. Basically makes him impromptu. This makes him for impromptu because like all of this inspiration here, debuffing, getting like increasing Eureka and doing answer. We'll see later. So, you know, this is now for impromptu. Skills. S1, Discipline of Authority. Single mental damage. Enters continuous action. This is +1 AP. It's the same, should be the same as Flutter Page. You know, Flutter Page gives you +1 AP when you do the attack. This does as well. I doubt it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be able to stack with Flutter Page. You don't need to, but I don't think it's going to stack. We'll see if there is any way of stacking this. Maybe the duration. I don't know. It might be a different type of buff, or maybe it can stack. We'll see when I pull it. But you know, I might be too crazy after that, but we'll see. After attacking, consume Eureka to increase number of attacks in impromptu incantation. So you use this card, and as I said before, for an impromptu character, something that you need is that for their card to do something to improve the impromptu incantation at the end. Otherwise, you doing this card would be completely useless, right? Now, in this case, even without the second part, the single mental damage entering continuous action, giving you +1 AP, is in an indirect way to buff impromptu, because you will have more AP to cast something else and to use all of your cards that have the inspiration dropped on it randomly, right? Well, we're still subject to RNG though. So we get the increased number of attacks. So it's going to attack 1 more time, 2 more times, depends maybe on the rank of the card. And we're getting +1 AP, which is pretty good. S2, Declaration of Ideals. It's a mass buff, and this is where they get answer. All allies receive answer. Consume Eureka to gain extra answer. Now, this is probably like if you have above extra Eureka, or if you have an X amount of Eureka, and you cast this, you could get extra answer. And this wording here makes me think that you can have multiple stacks of answer, which increases incantation might. Now, this increases incantation might, so we're talking about the characters that are attacking, not the impromptu. So whatever you're doing here when allies under answer actively attack using incantation, this will help the characters deal a little more damage themselves. So I don't know how many stacks you are getting. Maybe we're getting a decent amount of stacks. This might be good or kind of whatever, kind of mid, depending on how many stacks we get and how much incantation might it is per stack. Because like, how are you making a Voyager or a Barcarola deal a lot of damage with their cards while they are structured for them to be buffing impromptu, right? But maybe this is made with other users in mind. Maybe they want us to do a little bit of a hybrid, like introduce impromptu and maybe use Aleph to trigger impromptu system on a team and then do something else while at the same time getting impromptu in background. Future Jaka here. Now I was editing the video obviously, and I noticed like answer, right? Increases incantation might, and I talked about how this thing is like, oh, surely it doesn't target impromptu, but impromptu should count as your ally, right? And I believe it's also counting as incantation. Now I don't know if you can target impromptu. I don't think you can. We would have to unironically test it, like unironically try and see if it changes when you do answer. And you buff everybody. I don't think you can target impromptu. I think impromptu sure counts as your ally because it's on your side and it's doing damage for you. But I don't think you can target it. I think the only way for you to improve it is by using a card that is specifically saying impromptu does this, this, and this. So there's a little bit of a question mark on this S2, whether or not it will affect impromptu. So we'll see what answer is and what this entails in the future. The ultimate, the projection of the omniscience and omnipotent. Okay. Self-channel. This is really interesting. Aleph memorizes several normal incantations that allies actively used in this turn and enter hypertimesia. Now, this is literally like almost like Windsong, but it's in the sense that it's going to automatically cast something, but it's not, obviously. It's not like Winston. It's going to memorize whatever you put in your AP zone, right? So I would assume that if you have the ultimate, you do want to also have the continuous action on, if you can sync it. So that way you can have 5 AP, put the ultimate at the end, you cast 4 attacks or whatever you want to do. You cast the ultimate, it's going to memorize, it's going to start the channel, it's going to memorize all of the cards that you cast, all of your allies, and then when the channel ends, release all memorized incantation and increase number of attacks in impromptu incantation. So I don't know how many attacks are going to be increased. I don't know how many, like if they're going to be different type of incantation, if it's going to recast the same one, or if it's going to cast something else, probably the same cards. So you need to be careful what cards are you casting. Let's say you're playing Barcarola or Voyager, and you are casting their card before their ult. Those cards should be, there are on their own improving in impromptu, should be able to improve impromptu again once he starts recasting them. So if you put a card from Barcarola that says impromptu incantation now fires one more time, one more attack, if he's going to memorize it and recast it, it should count again for the +1. This should make impromptu really strong. But obviously we have to see it in game. But I feel like the concept is that it might be really crazy for impromptu, or this all memorize, because you can put the cards that improve impromptu and then recast them. So it's gonna be like the equivalent of 8 AP, if not more, 8 AP value for impromptu, 8 AP equivalent of incantation that are improving impromptu. More crit rate, more crit damage, more damage in general. You have the answer there. You also have the him giving buff to impromptu incantation. Maybe you're getting a continuous action as well. +1 incantation, +1 impromptu, +1 split, more damage, you know, and then you cast it again. So, you know, sounds pretty good, right? Impromptu incantation will also inflict interpret to enemies as well. The last attack will deal extra mental damage. So this is the status that he gets when he goes to self-channel. So overall, the feeling that I'm getting is that the character is obviously impromptu coded. You really want him to play with Barcarola and Voyager, maybe someone else, right? If you want to go sustain less, I don't know, but like now all we need is a sustain if we can. Maybe you can destroy everybody, just put Fatutu there in case the continuous action somehow is stackable, or even if it's not, maybe you can do something like that, but I don't know about that, to be honest. But there is a lot of testing that we should do before we actually know what to do. But I feel like we're still missing one piece. It's not that big of a deal. You can use another healer, but you know, like a Tooth Fairy, Euphoria for impromptu, that would help, I feel like. Or maybe someone else. Regulus, maybe make Regulus some kind of a sustain somehow. Ezra, I don't know, the characters that I talked about before. That said, overall, this also changes all of the pool plans that people had. So I'm gonna make a video about the pool plans after this, and to lay out some strategies that you could apply for pulling characters, like pull this character, skip this character, you know. It feels like Bluepock wants us to decide on what teams to play and pull them. And the others, you either are a spender or not, and if you at that point you get the other team. Otherwise, you choose a team, you skip everybody in the middle that is not for that team, and then you get it. And then after that team, you move on to another team, right? That's what it feels like they're doing, because they are spreading pieces of characters across a character team across like multiple patches, and there's like AB, AB, AB where A is one team and B is another team. So you need to choose which one you want to do if you're not a spender. That's how I'm feeling that it's happening right now. I have to say I'm a little sad that Aleph is an impromptu character, because I was expecting him more of a everything kind of character. It does buff, but you know, it is an impromptu character, so there is nothing that I can do about it. I will pull him on CN, and then we'll move. We'll go from there. I have Barcarola and Voyager. They're all set up on CN. I don't have it in global, so I don't know if I'm gonna do it in global, but I'm gonna do it in CN, and we'll see what happens there. Okay. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you made it there, if you made it here, comment "I'm losing my mind" in the comments, because that's what Aleph is doing all the time. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Join my stream at twitch.tv/Jakazin, and see you next time.